In this video, we're going to go over the start gate and timer modules, which work with one another. So, for example, you'll place the start gate, which has a trigger to start a countdown before it opens the gate, at the beginning of your obstacle course race or wherever it is you want to put it in your interactive experience. And then if you want to utilize the end object in order to stop the timer, you'll place that at the end or wherever it is that you want the timer to stop. So let's just go ahead and demonstrate. If I go ahead and step on the trigger, you can see 3, 2, 1, and then the gate opens. When I walk through it, it triggers the timer to start, and then if we touch the end, it's going to stop the timer. You can also use the default buttons that are included with the timer itself. So this will reset the timer, or we can stop the timer. So you could use those independently if you wish. If you were to use the start gate by itself, then you wouldn't necessarily need this object back here, which triggers the timer to start, nor would you need the end. You would just have the initial trigger that starts the countdown animation. So now in Unity, you can see we've got these lines going around. That's just basically the reactor component that we're using to communicate and trigger things to start and end. And that's just showing us where the communication is happening between different objects. So let's take a quick look at the start gate. So the start gate, again, can be used on its own if you want to. And it basically boils down to a multi-object animation. So you can see I have the countdown object selected in the start gate start timer, and within it I've got a bunch of items. I've got the wall, the start button, the timer start trigger, start text, and I've also got text for the different numbers, as you can see in the scene here. So if I scrub the timeline for the animation, or I just hit play, you can see the keyframes which control the animations. Now the reason that works is because when you have children objects within a parent object that has the animation attached to it, you can control all the objects within it. So you can control all the children if you put the animation on the parent object. And so then, as I mentioned back here, we just basically have the start trigger, which starts that timer. So if you didn't want to use the timer, you can just turn that object off, and then you would turn on the end gate stop timer object as well. And again, as far as the timer is concerned, if you wanted to use that independent without the start gate, you would go ahead and drag and drop the timer onto your stage, place it wherever you want, modify the colors or whatever. You can actually click on these. Let's get in there. So we go to the timer object. I'm going to go into the canvas counter, and this is where we have all our individual spaces for our numbers. And you can go, if you find the Text Mesh Pro object on the component, this is where you can scroll down and you can modify the text up here. You can modify the colors. This is using a gradient, vertical gradient fill, as you can see right there. You can modify that to horizontal or just a single color. There's quite a few parameters in there for you to play with. And to change the other values, you would go dig a little deeper into the children of the counter object in the timer. And again, we have the reset button and we have the stop button that you can of course modify, change, tweak, put somewhere else if you want to. And that's basically the start gate and the timer, how they work with one another.